Good Evening Bahamas coming up tonight. A mother of 6 murdered in cold blood. Her family speaks out. Meanwhile, another family held up at 4 a.m. You've got their story. BPL's new Wartsilla plant online.
Our news is brought to you by Alive.
Welcome to Our News and thanks for joining us. I'm Kyle Joaquin. The husband of a woman whose body was found on a track road in Nassau Village on Saturday morning is speaking out. The grieving father says he asked his wife not to go out hours before she was gunned down. She now leaves behind 6 children. Jared Higgs reports.
That evening, she was getting ready to go. And I told her I had this bad feeling, and I told her not to go. But she still insisted, and she went. And she told me that God has her back.
59-year-old Philip Lockhart Sr. says he couldn't believe it when neighbors informed him that his wife's body was discovered on a nearby track road with gunshot wounds. Now the grieving husband says all he has left are the memories of their 18 years of marriage.
She was fun. Sometimes she was moody, but then I still loved her.
According to police, shortly before 8 a.m. on Saturday, officers visited Lewis Street, Nassau Village after receiving reports of a female being shot. Once there, they discovered the woman with multiple injuries. Paramedics were called and she was pronounced dead on the scene.
It was dramatic to see the way they actually left her in the bush, lying in the bush. And what hurt me the most, I took one of my sons with me. One of my young sons, and I didn't know that's what he was about to see.
Our news visited Lockhart at the family's Nassau Village home on Monday morning. The retired Defense Force officer says he and his wife celebrated 18 years of marriage last month and had 6 children together, including a 1-year-old baby girl.
We never expect, bad things in life, right? But then it happens, and I feel it happens for a reason. It happens to, show us that, guess what? When you're supposed to be a family, you stick together as a family.
The widower says his wife liked to go out, and something came over him as she was heading out on Friday night. Her sudden killing saddening the couple's children.
Yeah, they're taking it hard. It's hard on them, especially the oldest kid. It's hard on them, and the younger one. But I tell them we'll see it through. Daddy helped them.
Now Lockhart's killing comes just a few weeks after a teenager from Nassau Village was found dead in waters in eastern New Providence. Kenrika Martin was found with abrasions to her neck and body. A man has been charged in relation to her death. Reporting for Our News, I'm Jared Higgs.
All right, thanks, Jared. Well, Commissioner of Police Anthony Ferguson says tips are pouring in from the public in connection with Saturday's murder. He said they are looking closely at the areas where CLEO Lockhart was last seen.
The only thing I would say is that, yes, there was a murder where a woman was found shot to the face. And we are backtracking the movement of this individual. The information that we are getting is encouraging. And hopefully I expect detectives to be in a better position that we can make a more definitive statement as to exactly what happened. But we do know that the individual was at several locations during the course of the night. And so once we put those information together, we'll be able to determine exactly what happened and who is responsible.
A Balfour Avenue family reliving the horror of an early morning home invasion that left 1 man in hospital. Unsuspecting residents got the shock of their lives this morning after they were awakened by 4 robbers posing as immigration officers.
That's his clothes?
Yeah.
Oh.
You get them right?
You really get them.
And this is
the
blood spot is still on the floor here.
Yeah.
Clothes,
That's his clothes.
With his blood-filled pants soaking in a bucket of water and his blood splattered on the doorstep of this home, 1 man remains in hospital after he was beaten in his head and about the body by 4 men who robbed the residents of this yard just after 4 Monday morning. Orville adjacent says he and his wife were sleeping when they heard banging on the door with men shouting immigration.
They say that's immigration. That's immigration. Immigration. Open the door.
How were they dressed?
Huh?
How were they dressed?
Okay. No. When I see them, I see that not immigration, I see that thief. You know, one of them get short pants, and they have mask in the eye.
DEJASSON said in addition to how they were dressed, the guns and knives the men were wielding made it clear these weren't immigration officers. They reportedly ordered DEJASSON and his wife to lay on the ground and took $200 she had in her purse. But it's how these men got into the yard with barbed wire on the gate that's shocking. It's believed they climbed up the garbage container, onto the roof, and jumped down onto the car.
They go on top of the roof.
They climb on top of the roof?
Garbage. Yeah. They pass by the garbage, go on top of the roof, jump in my car. What you see the car here? The car, wait.
I see you said they jumped from the roof to the car. I could see the dent in the roof here.
Yeah, you see that? You see?
So this is where they landed on the car?
Yeah, yes.
And the windshield is kind of cracked as well.
Exactly.
When we spoke with him, DEJASSON had just arrived home from CDU speaking with police. He said it appears the men were in search of money that would have come from a small convenience store that sits at the front of the yard. He said after taking his wife's money, the four robbers went to another room in the yard and beat another man, took $300 from him, and then went to another and got $2,000.
They get all them dead they have in there, they put it up to look out for the money. Wow. So they beat them.
In addition to beating the man, DEJASSON says the robbers used a telephone cord to tie them up. Immigration Director Clarence Russell was asked about the incident and the fact that men successfully got someone to open their door at 4 a.m. claiming to be immigration officers.
Asks before you open your doors for persons to in fact present proper identifications. If you are in doubt, then 919 is your option. Call and make certain that you verify with emergency services that in fact there are official law enforcement persons at your door.
After this horrific ordeal, DEJASSON said he's just glad no one lost their life. He says he no longer feels safe.
No, I don't feel safe. Now you see my life, they almost take my life. If I say no, they can kill me, you know.
Crime will drop by record levels in 2020. That was the bold statement made by National Security Minister Marvin Dames today as he gave unscripted remarks during a contract signing for a drone system. Jasmine Brown reports.
The National Security Minister was adamant with all the technological advances set for the early part of 2020. He believes law enforcement officials will get a lockdown on crime next year.
We look forward and we're excited about the possibilities in 2020 because we're going to put a lock on this country, and the Bahamas can expect to see record level reductions in crimes.
National Security Minister Marvin Dames made that strong prediction as he touted the Minutes administration's plans to beef up various law enforcement agencies. Dames reiterated the government's commitment to reducing crime during a $17 million contract signing with California-based company Swift for an unmanned aerial drone system at the Defense Force Coral Harbor base.
Well, this contract, I'm sorry, in the initial stages is for some $17 million. For approximately some 55 short and medium range drones.
Violent crime, particularly murders, have plagued Bahamian communities, mainly on New Providence, in recent years. While crime was trending downward in the earlier part of the year, a recent spike in murders and armed robbery have reignited crime concerns in many communities across the island. Earlier this month, Police Commissioner Anthony Ferguson linked the rise in murders to the shifting of police resources to islands devastated by Hurricane Dorian. Dames said there will be more police on the streets soon.
We're going to have to put together a very robust team.
In addition to the drones, Dames says in early January, officials will sign a contract for law enforcement officers to be outfitted with body cameras. Reporting for our News, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Bahamas Power and Light's new 132-megawatt Wärtsilä plant at Clifton Pier is now online, meeting its December 15th deadline yesterday. In a statement yesterday, the company said engines will be staggered onto the grid over the coming weeks in order to space our maintenance cycles. Public Works Minister Bannister says while there is still more energy needed to meet BPL's peak summer demand, consumers can expect to see that additional power in the coming years.
In January or February, early next year, we're going to bring another 30 megawatts on, which will be General Electric engine. So by then we'll have 162 megawatts of brand new power. And that's what this island needs. And in the following year, we expect 2021, we expect to bring another 90 megawatts on.
Bannister added the company is one step closer to saying farewell to the days of load shedding. As for the cost of electricity, he explained that while bills will eventually decrease, consumers will first see a slight increase due to the rate reduction bond.
There is a slight increase, and that increase has to do with paying the rate reduction bond. And we have to pay our way, and we have to appreciate that because we've had this slackness for so long. But as the price goes down, it is going to go down a whole lot more than it's gone up. Plus, when we put in the automated meters, then you're going to not be paying for the guy who doesn't pay his bill and leaves his house and walks away from a meter. So you're going to have your automated meter. You'll pay exactly for what you use.
Still to come, the opposition leader raises crime concerns. Stay tuned.